Okay, I have had several people ask me to talk about how I've set up my Notion to be effective and connected to in a variety of different ways. And so I wanted this video is to walk you through my Notion setup. You can go to fredbeer.com and there's a link there for Notion, and you will get a link to this site, and you can download this as a template and use it as you would like. So let me start with just the core of it is this is my digital brain, and I've taken a couple of different systems to do this. One is Para, and there's a link here to an article that talks about Para. Para stands for Project, Area, Resources, and Archive. And the idea is to organize things into those categories. And I'll talk about how I've done that. The second is Relationship Action Plan, which walks through how to connect with different people and how to have people help you with achieve the results that you want. And then the next is Zettelkasten, which is a note-taking system that is really powerful. And you'll see in here a number of different notes on these different systems. So, for example, if I click on the Para organization system, you'll see some tags that I'll go through, but it talks about what it is, key areas, and so forth. Those are my notes. You can also see a link to the source, which is goes to, if I click over here, who wrote it, um, that it's is it worth watching again? So it gives a whole bunch of information, and then it has the actual content of the article here, which is at this URL. And if I go back, um, we can do the same thing with the relationship action plan, and you can dig through what I've talked about it, and then the source, which Keith Ferrazzi's work on it, and where this comes from. All right, so so that's a way to get through, and same with Zettelkasten, you can get through the um, same thing. All right, so that's a quick summary of what's there, and these notes are in the template, so you will have them as you go through. So how have I connected these? So first, I have a vision. So I have, with the sense that you need to have a clear sense of where you're going, what is your future self looking like, and again, there's some notes on thoughts on vision in there, but as an example, and I only have one example here, but we have a vacation, 2 weeks at a fun place. Has it been accomplished or not? So that's a clear sense of the vision. The areas that it was on, comes from the Para system. So what areas are there? And this is a link. If you don't know what these are, you can go watch some videos online on Notion. But these are links to other databases. And you'll see that there are different areas there, and we'll go through that in a moment. And then goals, are there any goals that this helps accomplish? The type, is it something that's helping with your future self, personal objective, your company, family, giving back, right? And then the current state is, is it doing great, going okay, and needs help? And then the last, status. So this is a great way to look at the vision. I want to take a vacation 2 weeks, or that item, and then once I have that scheduled and so forth, I might say it's going okay and update the date to today. But that allows you to then look through and filter, because you can in Notion I can create a filter, and I can filter on the current status, and I can say needs help, and it will show me, in this case there's only one item in here anyway, but it will show me all the items that need help, and then that can help me with my planning to make sure that I'm addressing the parts of my vision that are not there. So you can go through your entire vision and review each item and say, you know, how is it going? And then the date of that last update. So you could even do a sort and say, show me all that haven't been updated in a month or 2 months in the filters, and then update them all, and then pull out the ones that need help, and then look at, okay, how do I create goals that that will help you achieve those, which is the next step here. Before I jump to goals, the future self is just a view of the vision with the filter of future self as the type. So I don't have any entered into here, but there is a note here on the future self and just the concept of what the future self is. So you can get some more insights into that, but this is a lot um, coming from Ben Hardy and talking about, actually has an upcoming book talking about your future self and the importance of specifying where you want to go. So that's the vision and the future self. The next, and the beauty of this, you know, going back to Notion, is this is a linked table to the vision. So if you make any changes here, it updates in the vision. So then you have goals. So in the goals piece, you're going to add goals, and you know, goals are an example goal. So what is the goal that you want to achieve? Again, by taking your vision, the things that are not on track can help you look at that. You can specify a due date. When is this goal going to be due? This is really important. The people, you know, what people that are going to support this goal. So if you think about the goal, who needs to help you achieve that? And that could be people that you know or don't know. And we'll get into that in a little bit more, but that gets into the relationship action plan areas of this. What areas is this in? So if you look at, and a little trick here is I put a colon area and a colon resource at the end. I have areas and resources in one database instead of in two. So if you just type area, it gives you all the results there. Now, in this case, I've put in a few areas that are very common for most people. You know, there's something around community, giving back, personal finances, family, and we'll look at these in more detail. But you can look at this and say, okay, so let's say on my house, I have to do a repair on the house in some way, or something like that, or I have a goal of, or I have a goal of buying a house, maybe, right? It depends on where you're at. So you could then click on, if this was buying a house, the due date on when that was, you click it in the house area, right? So you can then filter all of your goals by which area of your life are they impacting. So you're organizing everything. Again, for more, go to the para article to read more on that. What vision elements? So if you were buying a house as an example, you would have a vision element of, I'm living in a great house, right? And then that helps tie that together. And then you can go and view your vision and say, which vision does not have goals, right? Because you've tied them all together. And then are there any projects? So there's a separate project table that associated with that. So each goal should then have projects. So if you think about this as a hierarchy, you have your vision of where you want to go. That gives you goals, and goals are helping you achieve that vision. And then you have projects that are, when you complete your projects, you are going to achieve your goals, which will then achieve your vision. All right. And so that gives you the goals. Next here are the area and resources. So we already sort of touched on that, but this gives you the different areas. Again, this is just filtering by only the area, and down here is filtering by the resources. So you could have different areas for different parts of your life. There'll probably be one for work or different roles that you fill at work, maybe a couple. And for resources, again, what are the areas of interest that you have? I highly recommend that you read about the para-organization system to see this. But one of the great things about this is this helps organize your life and notes and goals around the different areas of your life. So you can look at, when I'm looking at my health and mind and body, I can see everything related to that very easily by filtering everything by that area. So if I click into that, I can, get a sense of what's going on. I could even add in here links to notes or goals that are related to that item. Right? So that's the area. The next is the notes database. This is a large database. I try to put all of my notes into this one database. And you'll see that there's a couple of different views here on the notes. But if I open up a note, and you've already sort of seen this, but there are tags that'll give you, and again, customize these tags however you want. But that's one way of looking at the notes. So you could say, show me everything on note taking, and it will give it to you. Show me, so forth. In the knowledge cycle, I have a number of different knowledge cycles here. So incomplete, draft, complete, job function. So, and you could select multiple because you could say this is a job function that's incomplete. What that allows you to do is then filter your notes and say, show me all the incomplete notes, and then look through those, or the incomplete notes in note taking, right? And then you can say, all right, what do I need to do to get these into draft or complete, so that you can take your notes and over time move them forward. Again, if you don't have something to fill out here, just don't fill it out. So if you don't want to fill out sometimes when I'm doing, sometimes I don't even use the tags if I'm doing I mostly use the knowledge cycle, but if I'm doing like a job function or a meeting note, I may not tag the meeting note. I may just put it there, put the link, put the project that it's related to or the client that it's related to, and then that's enough. I don't need the rest. The links here in the para. So what areas and resources are you thing here? And this is related to personal productivity. Who the people are that's associated with that. So that's there. Related notes, are there any related notes? So in this case, there's define your project clearly, and if you click on that, you'll see that there's another that you need to define your project clearly, and it gives a sense of some content on that. And then resonates. So I found this very valuable, again, to say, to sort of rate these. Again, for things like meeting notes, I don't necessarily rate them, but for a lot of the notes that I find out there, I'll say, para is pretty impactful. It was, didn't quite get to a wow. I rarely use the wow, but it was, more than impactful. And that also allows you to sort and show me all the notes that are wow or that are at level 4. The source, this is important. So when you click on this, it will take you back to the source of where I found this. And I'll show you sources in a minute. And that's a really powerful thing to do. And then related to a client. So if you can have different clients in here and then relate them to the client. If the note is related to a client, in this case it's blank, and then same with a project, and then it will give you the date created, all right? And then you've got the link there, all right? So that is how notes are used, and notes I use it for pretty much everything that I do. The next is people and relationships. So as you can see here, these are notes. So the relationship action plan will walk through how am I using the relationships, and this comes from Keith, and where's the source? So I can get back to the source. So if I need to reference anything or anything like that, I have it there. And then I have each person here. So if we look at like Keith, for Ozzy, you can use little icons. Any tags is, in this case, he's a thought leader, author. The relationship status, I don't know Keith, so I put him as I don't know, but I could also put him as a friend or a colleague, or that I met him at one point. In this case, I don't really need to put the organization, but if I wanted to, I didn't link this to another database because I just felt like that was getting too much, but you could just type in the organization if someone's associated with an organization. Their email, if you want to capture that. If this links to any goals, right, that's the link back to the goals setting. So, is there things that this person could help me with the goals? If you did connect with them, when was the last connected with? And this is powerful because then you can go through and filter all of your, show me all the people that are acquaintances, friends, who I haven't connected with in 3 months, for example. I can do a filter of that, and then I know to reach out to those people. Any notes that are related to them, phone, LinkedIn, next actions, we'll talk about that, but each project has next actions. So there's next actions that are associated with this person. And then are there any client notes that we want to have? And then where's the source, if they're an author, website, again, clients for the, if there's in this case, I wanted a sales rep, and then so this is when we're doing client work, I wanted to know who the person is at my company who is working with them, and then the project, if there's any projects, right? So that gives you a sense on the relationship. Again, I fill out as much or as little as I want. You'll see a couple of examples here, mostly are authors. Like he is, an author, thought leader. Right, so you can say both. Actually, Keith is both as an author as well. All right, and so that gives you the people. The next is wins, gains. So record wins that have occurred. So again, each win, the date that it's created, the period, is it weekly, monthly, annual? And this is just a really important thing to capture the wins that you're making and to help celebrate them. It's easy for us to get caught up in things and not remember what we've accomplished. And so accomplishing, marking the wins is a good way on a regular basis of going through and saying what did I accomplish? What are the positive things that I accomplished? And just recording them, and then you can filter and sort those. Clients, again, it's pretty straightforward, simple. Just have an active with the people associated. Are there any notes? And the sales rep, who's just another person. Again, that just helped me. Again, if you want to add another property, you can modify that. I put this into a board view instead of a list. Growth and learning. This is in my goals. One of the categories in the goal is growth and learning. So this is just a view of the top goals database that's filtered on learning and growth. So if you remember back in the growth and learning, when I'm adding an item here, type of goal, learning and growth. So this just allows me to build up more, to see the growth plans that I want to have, right? In each one of those. Source is a database of the sources that I have. So mindset here. So this is Tiago has this mindset of an effective knowledge system. So is it fantastic? Reference. Summary. I just wrote a couple of sentences there so I know what it is. Is there any notes? What type is this? In this case, it was an email newsletter. What was the publish date? Publisher. Again, I don't need all of these if this was a newsletter, so I don't have the source URL, and then I just copied and pasted the email in right here so that I have that all as a reference and I know who said it, I know where it came from, so I can cite back my source as needed. Right? There's a great Notion Chrome plugin where if you click on the Notion button, it will pop up and allow you to add a page to Notion. You can select the database, so select source, and when you do that, it will add it right in here. I always, after I click add, I click view source or open in Notion, and then I go in and enter all of this data at the top. So I go through and just quickly fill it out, and then I have reference material with all that information in it. And then the last is the projects. So in this case, I just do the list, but what is the projects? Share my Notion example project. I usually keep it in the board view just because then I can look at it. You know, what are the projects in my backlog? What are the not started? What is in progress? And if I, for example, didn't want a not started, I could just delete that that status. What is completed and no status, on hold, recurring. All right, so you can have different, you know, if you want to change these, just go in and change them. But this, you know, just lists the projects that I have. For each project, I have, you know, the purpose. How do I know when I'm done? It's in progress. This is actually, this project right here is this. I have the accountability here. So if I delegated it or I'm a sponsor of it, again, that allows me to filter it. This is a really important thing that I got from online, and you'll see is this is connecting to the value that this is creating. And by looking at the project and saying, well, what is the value of this? Is it a $1 million value, or is it a $100 value? And as a project, I want to look at this and I want to be doing more projects that are higher value and less that are the lower value. So, you know, if I'm, you know, have to do a project of doing a repair on the roof and of my house, that's probably a low, you know, $100 value. I should probably be contracting a roofer to do that and not be doing that myself. But if I'm setting a strategic vision or something like that, then I would do a higher value. And the other thing is, this is the value that it is valuable for me to be doing it. So an example, my business partner is really good at risk management. Risk management is high value to my business, but it's not high value for me to be doing it. It's much higher value for him to be doing it. So I use that from the value for me to be doing that. And again, I can filter all this. I also have next actions in here. So these are basically the next pieces to do. And I'll show that in a minute, but you can see the different different pieces here and where they are at, and well, you know, what's going on there. And then the progress on the next action. So you see in here, one of them is done, one of them is not. So they're 50%. Are there any goals supporting related notes, part of an area? And again, those would all be can or cannot be filled out. So that gives you the projects that you have. You can also, if you know, drag and drop between, which is nice to get them here. But this is a nice way to look in and see what is going on. And then in the planning, we have the next actions here. And the next action shows me what are the next actions that I have. So in this case, I only have one of them. I can do current next action. This is the view that I usually use. So it will tell me not started. In this case, I am recording this right now. So I would say in progress. Right, and then I can look at all the in progress stuff that I have. You'll also see that next actions have a value potential. It is lower because your should be a step down on the next actions than the projects. Right, you can't do a $1 million project if you're doing, or if you have $1 million project, you can't do $1 million action because it's a subset of the $1 million project. And this can help too in looking at the lower stuff you want to be delegating. You should not be spending time on. Or you should be looking at how do I get it off my plate quickly, right? And then which project is that associated with, and so forth. And you don't have to. You can create items in here that are not associated with it, with a project. But the more you can associate with a project, it just helps connect everything and make everything fit together, right? And again, it just gives you this Kanban board type view, and so you can have the not started. I added a quick complete because I was running into things like emailing someone back or something that I couldn't do at night when I was thought of it, I needed to, or calling someone, better example than emailing, I could do that at night, but calling someone, I can't do it at 10 o'clock at night, but I could add a quick action in here to do it. And then these are the ones that I can get done in just a couple of minutes that versus the in progress might take me a day or two. I also have tried to, unfortunately you can't do a work in process limit, but I try to limit the number of items that I have in progress so that I get them complete and move on over them. And the last thing that I'll say, there's some views here of do I have the right projects in place, which will show me the projects and what are in progress. Do I have projects and next actions? Do we have the right goals? So it'll tell me the goals and then show me connections between them. So these are just some views, some one-on-one meetings. So then that's a piece that I use. So that gives me a number of different views on it. And then I have some dashboards on stuff and so forth. But most of my time I'm spending here on the next actions and looking at these things in planning. So that is an overview of my my Notion setup, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions or comments. Have a great day.